Hi guys, so I'm going to try and make this a really quick video. I've just got a few things to update regarding November, between the 2nd and the 14th. We've got a noise advisory from the Marine Corps Base Camp in Pendleton, that's South Carolina, or sorry, not South Carolina, Southern California, um, in San Diego County. What they're saying is on Thursday, November the 2nd and Friday, November the 3rd, they'll be firing high explosive munitions into the Whiskey Zulu impact area. That's mortar fire. So be aware that they are having live fire drills in Southern California, San Diego County, which they're saying that these explosions may be heard up to 50 miles away. So if you're hearing explosions, then know that they are doing live fire drills in Southern California. So that's the first thing I wanted to bring to your attention. Second thing is the military exercises that are going on in Canada. So we have exercise Ardent Defender, which is from October the 15th to November the 3rd. And that's exercise Ardent Defender is an explosive ordnance disposal exercise from October 15th to November 3rd, 2017. It is designed to improve participants' ability to counter explosive threats. So just in case anyone who doesn't know what an explosive ordnance is, it's a bomb, basically. So bomb disposal exercise, which is ending on November the 3rd. Also in Canada, we have an exercise called JOINT-X, and it's an exercise that demonstrates the abilities of Canadian-led multinational Joint Integrated Task Force headquarters in the planning and conduct of coalition operations in a joint interagency, multinational and public environment. JOINT-X is designed to transform the way the Canadian Armed Forces train, develop and learn to prepare for future operations. During JOINT-X, the CAF practiced the provision and functions of national command and control, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, and sustainment while operating at home or abroad. Then we've got a communication interoperability training with amateur radio set. Elements of the US Department of Defense will conduct a communications interoperability training exercise on November the 4th to the 6th, once again simulating a very bad day scenario. Amateur radio and Mars organizations will take part. The exercise will begin with a national massive coronal mass ejection event, which will impact the national power grid as well as all forms of traditional communication, including landline, telephone, cell phone, satellite, and internet connectivity. Army Mars programmer Paul English, WD8DBY, explained in an announcement. During the exercise, a designated DoD headquarters entity will request county-by-county status reports for the 3,143 US counties and county equivalents. In order to gain situational awareness and to determine the extent of impact of the scenario, Army and Air Force Mars organizations will work in conjunction with the amateur radio community, primarily on the 60-meter interoperability channels, as well as on HV-NBIS frequencies and local VHF and UHF non-internet linked amateur radio repeaters. Again, this year, a military station on the East Coast and Arizona HF station will conduct a high power broadcast on 60-meter channel 1. So just make a note of that channel, 60-meter channel 1, which is 5330.5 kilohertz on Saturday from 3 to 3:15 Universal Time. New this year will be an informational broadcast on Sunday. We'll take note of that frequency as well. Okay, that's from 4 to 4:15. Amateur radio operators should monitor these broadcasts for more information about the exercise and how they can participate in the communications exercise. So I'd encourage anyone who's got amateur radio, ham radio out there to tune into these frequencies on the 2nd and on the, is it 2nd and 3rd? Sorry, 1 second. Sorry, 4th and 6th. So between the 4th of November and the 6th of November, if we're all still here, I would encourage anyone who has one of those radios to tune into those channels, 5330.5 kilohertz and 13,483.5 kilohertz, and let us know what they're talking about if they reveal anything on there. They go on to say, we want to continue building on the outstanding cooperative working relationship with the ARRL and the amateur radio community, English said. We want to expand the use of the 60-meter interop channels between the military and amateur community for emergency communications, and we hope the amateur radio community will give us some good feedback on the use of both the 5 MHz interop and the new 13 megahertz broadcast channels as a means of information dissemination during a very bad scenario day. So definitely leading up to something. It's making me feel like November the 3rd is, there's nothing going to happen on November the 3rd. It's simply the day to mark the beginning of the events that are to come. And I believe that will be sometime. The whole month of November is pretty, I can't even find the word. Basically, the whole month of November is pretty important. That's it. But the beginning, particularly, is showing a bit more relevance. The next thing, so you've got emergency go home drill on November the 3rd. This is all district schools will dismiss 15 minutes early on Friday, November the 3rd for a state mandated emergency go home drill. This drill must be completed at least once each school year, and it must not occur more than 15 minutes prior to the normal student dismissal time. This drill is designed so that our district can practice our procedure for transporting students home in the event that inclement weather or a similar disaster affects our school. So they're preparing the children as well. We've then got Florida. They've also got, this is the Florida State Emergency Response Team. They've also got something on, which is learn to prepare for, protect against, respond to, recover from, or mitigate against threatened or actual natural disasters, acts of terrorism, or other man-made disasters affecting electric power facilities and systems. So again, they're pointing towards something happening with the power grid. We've had talk of EMPs, and we've had talk of lights out exercises, go home drills, military drills, and now we've got some more information coming from Florida that they'll also be teaching how to respond in the event that something affects the electrical power facilities and systems. And that is going to be from Thursday, November the 2nd to Friday, November the 3rd. So again, they're using that time frame. And because they're conducting so many drills up to or on the 3rd of November, is why I say that I don't think anything's actually going to happen on that day. I just think that that day is a marker. As I said, it adds up to 3, 2, 1, 0. It's the countdown, and the countdown's over. Now everything can begin. And the last thing I wanted to bring to your attention is just this quick article from econmatters.com, and it's David Stockman. Basically, David Stockman is an author, former businessman and US politician who served as a Republican US representative for the state of Michigan, and as a director of the Office Management and Budget under President Ronald Reagan. He has been frequently interviewed by mainstream news outlets such as CNBC, Bloomberg, and PBS, and he is a highly respected voice in the financial community. Like other analysts, Stockman believes the US economy is in dire shape, and he told Greg Hunter during a recent interview that he is convinced that the S&P 500 could soon crash by 40% or even more. The article is not very, very long, but it's longer than I'm willing to read right now. But I just wanted to kind of like highlight this point here, which is the S&P 500 is going to drop by hundreds and hundreds of points sometime over the next few months as we drift into this unexpected crisis. I would target sometime between August and November, because that's when the rubber is going to meet the road on the debt ceiling increase. When they're out of cash, Washington is going to end up in a vicious political conflict over what to do about the debt ceiling. It is going to be one giant fiscal bloodbath, the likes of which we have never seen. So that's my report. I just wanted to update you guys on the new stuff that I found leading into November, and I think that we still need to keep our eyes open and keep researching for as long as we can, get as much information out there as we can, support each other, get close to God, and pray that we'll be one of the people who are raptured. Otherwise, we have tribulation to go through. And it's the story of the 7 churches in the Bible, where God is telling each of the 7 churches that He's pleased with some aspects of what they've done, but they failed in other areas. Therefore, they must correct their mistakes before the end. Otherwise, they'll end up in hell, basically. So that's what I'm trying to help with. I'm trying to help get the information out there, let people know that times are coming to an end, because as much as us lot on YouTube and on other websites that are called conspiracy websites are trying to alert people, there's millions and millions of people who haven't even been exposed to this information, and we need to work together to try and get as many people saved as possible. We know that there's going to be millions of people that aren't saved, but we need to do our part, because that's why we're here. You know, the question of life, if you're thinking about it for yourself, then you're always going to be asking, what's the purpose of life? But if you actually read the Bible and understand what our purpose is to spread the word, follow God's commandments, and try our best in everything that we do. So I hope that's given you guys some more information to go out and research some more for yourselves as well.